Hello and welcome to our little corner of the internet where we talk about fountain pens, inks, journals and journaling, and just about anything and everything. It's going to keep you inspired. Welcome to the scriptorium, fellow scriveners. Thank you for all the likes. I see everyone's already liking the live stream. I appreciate that. It's a good way to let other people know that the live stream is happening and that you're enjoying it. So that's wonderful. So welcome to the show. And if you do tune in each Tuesday night, first of all, thank you. I appreciate it. Really proud about what we do here. We talk about a lot of different ideas. We talk about just about every aspect about fountain pens, inks, journals, and journaling. So it's always something new. We mix it up. We look at things from different perspectives. And we are not gatekeepers. We're not judgmental. We don't criticize whatever kind of pen you use. If it's $5 or $500, I don't mind. I'll probably snicker at you if it's like a $3,000 pen, though. To be honest, I might a little bit make a face. But no judgment. I don't care how you write. I don't care how you hold your pen. Each of us is different. Sometimes there's mobility issues, whatever. However you write and you feel comfortable and you're creating, I'm happy, I'm engaged, you're engaged, I'm curious, you're curious, we're curious together, we're doing great things. That's what matters. So if you're here and you're enjoying it, please just take a little bit of effort and hit the subscribe button. I'd love to have you along on this journey with us because we are going to some amazing places, not the least of which is our topic this evening. One pen to rule them all. Is that even possible? Is it even desirable? What am I even talking about? Well, we'll get to that. And it'll once again be a new idea, kind of paring things down to their essences. Yeah. So I want to say hello to all the members. We have a lovely community of members here. They show up for the chat every week, and we see each other behind the scenes. And if they're Cognoscenti or Illuminati members, we have a Pen Pal group as well. And the biggest news on the Pen Pal front is I am caught up with my correspondence. Ooh, thunder. Can you hear that? And I also have some new stationery. I have some new stationery to share. I'll be sharing that with you as well. Pretty exciting. Lots of new stuff. I have a bunch of other boxes too I haven't opened. So more stuff next week. So I want to address, I see a comment already by Steve Ruckel, who's a very lovely fellow. He is a member of the channel, and he's saying, I'm going to the DC Pen Show. I need to figure out which day and how to connect with other HJ folks. HJ being Hemingway Jones. This has grown beyond me. There's the channel, there's me, there's all of you. You guys are the most important part. Well, I am going to be at the DC Pen Show, and frankly, I'm starting to get a little nervous about it. It's just, it's so epic, the ride, the event itself. I don't really know what I'm in for. I have been to pen shows before, but they were small. It was a Commonwealth Pen Show, very intimate, and I knew some people, and it was very comfortable. I don't know what this one's going to be like. I think it's going to be bigger. I believe it's the second largest pen show in the world, if I'm not mistaken. And there's going to be a lot of people there. So it's going to be really fun to meet people. And if you want to meet me in particular or some of the folks that are here on the chat, I am going to make it blatantly obvious where I am. Not only the fact that I'm 6'2" and I dress in a certain way, I think you guys know, maybe giant crocodiles, blue blazer, whatever it is. I'm kind of easy to pick out in a crowd, so if you see me, I think you'll know it's me. I'm pretty much the same guy wherever I go. But I'm also going to put up into the community section here at YouTube. So subscribe so you can keep track of the community section, I will be putting up that I'm going to be at a certain place at a certain time. Because there is a few things I want to do at the DC Pen Show, and I would love you to be a part of it. And that means you be a part of it, won't you? So what I want to do is find a place where I can live stream. Probably not during the show. I'm probably going to film a little during the show. I want to enjoy the show, but I also want to get a sense of it on film so I can share it with you all, do some highlights and film some things, and then edit it quickly and put it up that weekend so you can see what it's like. Maybe shortly after. But I definitely want to share the experience with you. But what I really, really also want to do is find a nice place, hopefully where there are beverages that I can sip and enjoy, and stream, and maybe have some guests on if there's some folks like you who are there that might want to pop in next to me and say hello to everyone. I'll probably bring this basic setup without the light that I'm using right now. It's pretty portable. I could take it down to a hotel bar. I hope there's a hotel bar at this hotel. I really don't know the layout of this hotel, but I certainly hope there is something like that where we can have a little version of this show and speak to some members and anybody else who wants to hop on camera with me. I think that would be grand. Wouldn't that be fun? So I'm hoping to do that either Friday night or Saturday night, depending on how much energy I have. So my plan is I'm going to roll in late morning on Friday. I'm going to the Pen Show Friday afternoon. And then, wow, can you guys hear the thunder? It's really loud. So sorry about that. And then sometime that evening, I'm going to either live stream or something else. And then the next day, I'll hit the Pen Show again, late morning, and, into the afternoon and whatnot. And then that evening, some more Fountain Pen Show related shenanigans. So I hope you'll join me for that. That will be huge and much appreciated. And speaking of much appreciated, I have to recognize someone. I am recognizing Pegleg Pirate Rooster. Oh, how are you? I just read your letter and I just answered it. A member of the channel, wonderful stuff. He sent a super sticker for $9.99. Thank you so much for your generosity. You helped to keep the lights on. I say that, and I mean it literally this time, because I don't know if you can tell. Quality of the light slightly different. I have a new light. I swapped it out for my old light. This one is a bit brighter, and it has a better stand. So I put the old one away, and I can have two lights sometimes set up, but today one light. So Pirate Rooster, thank you so much. Very, very generous of you. I do appreciate it. And Marcus Souza, another wonderful, wonderful member of this channel, lovely guy, $20. Thank you so much. Saying good night, everyone, helping to keep the lights on. Indeed you are. You are valued. I appreciate it. The lights are indeed on, and will continue to be, thanks to you and your generosity. So I'm going to look at some of the comments. Oh, Wolf Kate Witch is not going. I thought you were going, Kate. I'm very disappointed. Hoping I'll see you at the Commonwealth. Very, very sad to hear that. Gene Price is asking, if DC is not the largest pen show, what is? It is my understanding, and feel free to correct me either in the comments or elsewhere. And thank you for all the likes, guys. I see them flying by. I really appreciate it. It's my understanding that the Tokyo Pen Show is the largest in the world. Am I right? Let me know in the comments and the chat. Feel free to comment if you're watching the replay. Comments help to keep the replay out there, so please comment. I answer all my comments for the most part. I really do read as many as I can. I'm getting busier and busier though. The channel's growing, but I love the comments. I get so much inspiration in the comments. Even the critics. I'm getting a lot of really good ideas from the criticisms and some of the cranky people. I mean, I can be cranky, so I can appreciate that. But, people say things and sometimes it inspires me, or I'll get a phrase from it that I can use for a title. I used one earlier, I think it was last year. Do you even journal, bruh? Because somebody said that or something like that to me, and I used it. I used it for inspiration. You may as well. So speaking of journaling, and I'm like king of the transition tonight. So I hope you notice I have wires all over the place. I'm using a new setup, but I think it's working okay. Speaking of journaling, I think that journaling is at the heart of this channel. I think that better mental health through journaling is very, very important, and kind of one of the bedrocks of this channel. And every once in a while, I really like to put out a very meaningful video along those lines. And I've recently filmed and posted in advance, so it's going to air in late August, a video just on that. And the topic is what 30 years of journaling has taught me. So what I learned from 30 years of journaling. My latest journal is this one. You may have seen it before, the mighty Bottega Obscura. Absolutely gorgeous journal. It's a tome, though. This is not a light journal. This is a commitment, but it's beautiful. Look at that edge paper. It has my initials on it. This was custom made for me. The paper's lovely. Fountain pen friendly. Beautiful marbled paper on the inside. Being very careful not to show you my innermost thoughts at this time. Plus you have these really interesting embossed images. Looks like some kind of like a book from an old manor house or a medieval alchemist. That's what I like about it. So this is my latest journal. You're also going to see a pretty stupendous journaling video coming up on paper and journals themselves. So this one isn't on the act of journaling, but actual journals. Kind of one of the areas I don't think I explore enough is paper, because I typically use the same paper all the time. That's my primary journal. I'll take that to DC with me. If I'm still using it, I will be taking it to Rome and Venice with me in November. Ob says it was journaling that first attracted me. Yeah, thanks, Obs. You know, it's funny that the journaling content that I put up doesn't get the attention that a lot of other stuff does. For whatever reason, and I can't figure out really what makes YouTube happy and what doesn't. I do my best to make entertaining content. I put everything out. I did a video on Nantucket red pants I'm really proud of. I'm going to mention it again because I hope you'll take a look if you haven't watched it. It's an entertaining video. It's different. It's about pants, but they're interesting pants, and they have a history, and they're tied to Nantucket and President JFK, and it's interesting. I try to make interesting stuff, but I can never predict. I recently put up my EDC video, so it's the stuff I carry with me in my bag for work, and I was very honest about it. I've watched a lot of that kind of video where people get ridiculous, and I almost wanted to do it because some of them are so fun. They'll reach in their bag and pull out a bicycle or something. It can really get ridiculous. But probably more accurately, I saw somebody pull out a bag of sugar, and nobody's carrying a 5-pound bag of sugar in their bag, or some kind of wheat or something, and it was just ridiculous but kind of charming. And I was going to do something like that, but instead I actually showed everything that's in my bag, and I didn't think that it would be particularly well received, slightly out of what I normally do, but I put it up the day after July 4th when no one's watching, and it did really well. So I have no clue. All my obsessiveness, all my criticism, you guys know my worst criticisms are aimed at myself. I am always trying to be better. I'm always refining the way I edit. I'm always I have to listen to myself when I edit, and my own voice in my head drives me crazy sometimes. It's a weird thing when you're everything. It'd be great if I could do this footage, hand it to someone else who would edit it in my style, because you hear yourself saying things over and over and over again, and it's just slightly alienating, but fun. If that makes any sense. It is actually really, really fun to edit. So I am into EDC, but I'm not in that kind of... I think my really intense outdoorsy days are over, so I'm not really looking at it from a point of like a go bag where you're going to go out and live in the woods for 3 months. There was a time in my life when I was a rock climber and I was really into those sort of things. But I'm a little older now. I'm a little more settled. The stuff I use is for different purposes. Half of my EDC is so I can see. It's like loops, reading glasses, my glasses, things like that. I usually have magnifying glasses around. You've seen this, right? So it's like so much of things that are around me help me see. So I'm getting a little older, but there are things that intrigue me. And I'll give you a for instance, and you're going to get a full review of this very, very soon. So this is the Lockbee journal. I believe they call it the Field Journal. And I've been putting this through its paces because I do take journals with me when I film. That's a very important part of my journaling and my journaling process. And I often use the Clairefontaine Pupice. I have so much trouble saying that. My mouth doesn't want to work that way. This was a really interesting, different direction for me. For one thing, I like that it's wax cotton. It reminds me of a barber jacket. It's kind of manly. I kind of dig its sort of alpha man vibe. I feel like I might have to grow a beard to use this, even though I don't grow facial hair pretty much. Just a little tiny bit. I don't even have to shave over here, which is funny. 57, still not shaving. But anyway, lots of cool features, really fun, really interesting journal, and a lot of things you can do. I have a couple quibbles, but for the most part, I'm digging it. I'm enjoying this thing. So you're going to get a full review, and then it also may show up on a list, a very intriguing, interesting list coming soon to the channel, which I think you'll all like. So you're going to see more paper because I have a ton of it. So much Tomoe River, so much Clairefontaine, so many different brands of notebooks. You name it, someone sent it to me. So this was sent to me. Let me make that clear. I always like to make it clear how I get stuff. The kind folks at Lockbee sent me this to critique with no editorial control, and they didn't pay me a dime. So I have no motivation to be nice. They didn't give me a discount code, nothing. They just gave me this. I can say what I like about it. So stay tuned for that. I'm still putting it through its paces, but I'm writing down my thoughts, and I'm about ready to film. I filmed some. I'm going to finish the rest very soon. So I think you'll like it. All right, see how tough it is? It took a good hit. And I have to thank someone. The absolutely incredibly generous Nathan King. Nathan King, $30. Thank you so much, my friend. Extremely generous. Thank you. Super chats are huge. I can't tell you how I appreciate it. I'm humbled by them. I see them as a vote of confidence. They mean the world to me. Thank you, my friend. And there's a message. I love that this channel goes so much deeper than pen reviews. Thank you. I do try. I do the occasional pen review, as you all know, but I don't think it's not maybe what I do best. I don't want to say that because I think my pen reviews are really good, but I just feel like I really get on fire when I'm doing lists when I'm bringing in some other idea or there's some kind of narrative. When I'm doing a pure pen review and it's just about the pen sometimes, I get a little bored making it. When it's about, like, this week's video now, let me tell you what this week's video is. This week's video is called Why You Need to Buy a Lamy Safari Now, right now. And it goes through the Lamy Safari and all its iterations, from the Vista to the Safari to the AL, which I love. I love the aluminum one so much, which Yoast sent me those. So I cover the history of the pen, when it was launched, who designed it, all of that, and then its design, and then how I feel about it. It's very important, I think, to tell you how I feel. What this pen makes me feel, how it inspires me. That's the value add, I think. So Nathan King, thanks. I really appreciate if you get that from this channel, because that's what I'm aiming for. Terry Egerton, what good is lovely fountain pens if we don't have the proper paper? You're not kidding. You're not kidding. And paper is tough. And I'll tell you the toughest paper, and that's writing paper, which I'm going to show you now. Let me turn on the second camera. I sounded very filled up. It has a nice ribbon. Let me go here. It might be better to go here. So, nice ribbon here. I bought this at the Museum of Fine Arts on Sunday, where I was filming some B-roll for an upcoming video with my family. With the lovely Helen, my lovely wife, whose birthday is this Sunday. I have the most epic birthday present for her. I cannot wait to give it to her. I am more excited about her birthday than I think she is, certainly than she is. And I can't wait. I also wrote her a really nice letter, and I put some dried flowers, and I letter pressed it with a wax seal like I showed in my video, and it's really, really pretty. I'd show it to you, but then she'll see it, because sometimes she might be watching now. I guess I gave that away. But she probably expects that. I wrote her a nice letter. I got her such a nice present. I'll tell you next week what it was. I'd tell you now if I could, but she might be watching. But anyway, so we went to the Museum of Fine Arts, my lovely wife, my beautiful daughter, and I, and we bought this. It's a Morse & Co. writing set, and I'm a sucker for pretty. I can admit that. Little fiddly, pretty things like this. I of course, have another one, which many of the Cognoscenti and Illuminati members have received. There's no cards, there's writing paper and envelopes, and a really pretty bow that you can tie. So I got that, and if you recall, I bought this a few months back, but I will show it to you to kind of remind you. This is another one, William Morris, and you'll see it's quite used now. Do you remember when I first got it and it was full? But a lot of Illuminati and Cognoscenti members have been getting letters in this, and my stickers are well used now. My return address stamps, also well used. And there's some envelopes at the bottom. This is one of my favorites. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? The only thing bad about this paper, if I can say, is that it's not lined. And you really can't see through it very well, so you can't really put lines behind it. So you have to be very disciplined, or you're going to go off your line. So there is that. But I really quite like this stuff. And many, many members have received letters from me in that paper. Wow, the chat's really lively, guys. I feel like left out sometimes. Okay. So another thing to see is this this writing set, which I bought, and it's got an interesting opening. It's kind of like an apogee. So here's a very narrow depth of field. No, this would be actually wide depth of field. This would be narrow. So, let me show you this. Isn't this nice? So it's kind of gold. Wouldn't this be fun with some sheen? Maybe that Tom Studio gold ink. Wouldn't that be nice with this? And then I'll show you the paper. Isn't that nice? Now this stuff is rather thin. It feels kind of like Tomoe River, but I don't think it is. But I think I could put lines behind it and have a guide while I use it. So I'm pretty excited about this. It's made in Italy. Toscana Carte Brigiate. And that's all it says. Cantos. Letter writing set. Fogli e busti. So pretty excited to use that. A few more things to show you. And then we're going to talk about our main topic. So it'll be fun. For most of my letters lately, Illuminati and Cognoscenti members have seen it, but I have been using my Magna Carta Mag 600 with the amazing vintage style flex nib. Having a lot of fun with it. I have a sheening ink in here right now. You can see it. See it on the feed, on that ebonite feed. This is an ebonite pen. It has that sort of organic, warm feel to it. A good boy. He's a good boy. So, very lovely pen. I kind of like the black, although I would prefer 650 because it's pretty. But this is pretty too. And I like this pen. It's plenty fine for me now. So this I have been using quite a bit. And I have some other pens I'm using quite a bit. Look who came back into the fold. The Bonhomme from Mont Blanc. One of my favorite brands. And along with it, the Majan X1. So I'm having a little fun comparing these. This has an extra fine nib on it. It's very smooth, but it does a little ugly things. It's just not very elegant when you. It's really hard to like kind of screw it on. It feels sort of muddy, and then when you take it off, it just sort of like craps off. See that? It's like it kind of just comes off, which is not that fun. But when you set the pen up and you actually use it, it's a delight. So I do like it. So I'm using that. I'm using this. This is a lot smoother, a bit more sophisticated, a more civilized. You know, I really don't like that angle. I thought I would, but I don't. Much more civilized writing instrument. And this has a nice notch it settles in, and it unscrews kind of predictably, a little more predictably. And then I want to show you one more thing. The folks at Lockbee also sent me this Quattro pen holder, and I've been using it because it does have crumple space, especially if you use it for one pen. I have one pen in here now. Now, where my criticism of this is, and I really like this pen holder, and I want to like it more, but this is where my criticism is. Let me show you. See that? That's pretty pushed down. I am pushing that down as hard as I can. Do you see where that is? So it's not really big enough for your larger pens. I mean, you can, with a Magna Carta, but would I feel comfortable kind of zipping over a Pelican M1000 or a Mont Blanc 149? Would I just zip over the top of those? Not so much. With this, I don't want to scratch it. It's holding up really, Ebonite's tough. It's holding up really, really well. But, it's a consideration. So I think this pen case is great, but but I feel like it should be about 4 millimeters higher. 4. That's my estimation. It would just give a little extra. Because even this pen, do you see where this pen is hitting? This is not a large pen. See, the zipper's right there on top of it. What is this pen? You recognize this bad boy? This is the Omas Bologna, which I'm still using. Now, Frank Zhang gave me this pen, so I want to make that abundantly clear. But you can give me a pen, I can use it, I can get bored of it. Maybe I make a video and then I get bored of it. I've been using this consistently since I got it, and nothing has usurped it yet. So I'm going to show you something on this pen, but first I want to recognize Robin Pennell, one of my favorite people. Robin, thank you so much. The generous, always incredible Robin with a $2, $1.99 super chat. Helps so much. You've such a great support of the channel, been so generous to me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Really awesome. The super chats have been great tonight, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you. It helped me get to DC. So thank you. So here's the Omas Bologna, which I really like. It's a, is it a fine nib or an extra fine? I forget now. But what my big point is, look how vintage this nib is. Look at how vintage it is. Do you see the feed? It's an ebonite feed, but look at the shape of that. Look how long the nib is, which I really like. And look at the shape of the feed. It's so elegant. There's no fins to break off. I mean, I guess technically there's some shallow fins, but you're not going to break those off. They're not delicate. I still don't know what damage that would do anyway. I've spoken to some people who have broken fins off of Twisbees, and you know what it did? Absolutely nothing to the pen. So I honestly don't know. But that's according to them. I haven't done it, and I'm not going to because I don't like to be destructive unless I have to. But isn't that a cool feed? Look how sleek it is. There's something almost Star Trek about that. I love the sleekness of it. But a beautiful nib that reminds me a little bit of a Parker, an old Parker, because it also, you think Parker with arrows. I know Omas has arrows too, but beautiful. Just beautiful nib. Beautiful effort from Omas. I love this material. Even my daughter noticed how this changes in light. It looks very dark, and then in other light, it gets very shiny. So you've heard me wax poetic about this. I quite like this pen. So I'm going to put it back in here, but I do wish this pen case were taller. Because would it kill it to be a little taller? Would it really make much difference if it had at least, 2, 3, 4 millimeters? I think not, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. And when I'm wrong, I admit I'm wrong. That's one thing. I admit when I'm wrong. I admit when I don't know something. I don't have this idea that I'm the smartest guy in the room. My perspective on the channel has always been that all of you know more than I do. That I'm on the journey of discovery. You guys are helping me. And that's how we make our videos. It's not like I know everything. I could run out to Google before I film and just pretend I know everything. I don't do that. I use Google for research, but research is different. That's how you learn things. Ooh, did I mention that I did another Hemingway video? So if you liked the first Hemingway video, I've done a second. So the new Hemingway video solves some of the mysteries of the first. So I think you'll like that. It's coming at the end of August. Robert Koch, $1.99 super chat. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Really good stuff. Thank you. Thanks for helping keep the lights on. So let's talk about tonight's topic. I think it's a good one, and it's about one pen to rule them all. And I'll tell you what is really kind of pushing me in this direction, this kind of thought, and it's this feeling Oh, I got something else to recognize. Thank you so much, MB Fan, with a £9.99 super chat. Thank you very much. How about visiting the London Pen Show sometime? You know, I would love to. I don't know when it is, but I can tell you this. We are going to the UK next year. That is our plan. Now, subject to revision. I have a 7-year-old. You know how that is. But the plan is Italy this year, back home to the UK, my second home, my wife's home, next year. And I need to see Cordings in Piccadilly, my favorite clothing store. I need to visit Lock & Co. I need to visit Floris. There's so much I want to see. I want to go to Watson's Books on Cecil Court. I just want to wander and show my daughter the National Gallery, show her the Fighting Temeraire, my favorite painting, and the beautiful horse painting across the gallery from it. I'm just super excited to do all that. So thank you for that £9.99 super chat. I really appreciate it, and hopefully I'll see you in the UK. When I go to the UK, I will make it clear where I am, and maybe we can have like a HJ channel meetup in Trafalgar. That would be fun. I have done things like that before. It's a good spot, or we can go to Covent Garden or somewhere like that. We usually stay on St. Martin's Lane, so it's right there between those two places, which would be lovely. So, UK next year, maybe for the pen show. That would be great. That would be great. Okay, so we're talking about this, where I am right now, and what has kind of brought me to this crossroads in my collecting journey, because I think to some extent we're all fountain pen collectors, whether we admit it or not. If we have 3 or 4 and we're ever contemplating adding a 4th or 5th, or we're wondering whether or not we're going to swap out one of our 3 pens, we're collectors. I think once you put your attention towards something and start to obsess over it, you've crossed the line into looking at it as a tool, into looking at it as something more. For me, it's like a time machine that transports me to other places. It's a way of projecting my thoughts, my voice into the future even. It's just a way to kind of express myself and to make connections with folks. So that is my goal. Robert Koch Jr. with another super chat for $1.99. Thank you so much. That's really, really kind, my friend. You are amazing, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I kind of have a certain amount of pens, and of course, being someone who makes YouTubes, you get pens. Pens come to you various ways. Companies send them to you sometimes. Just, they happen. They just come. And I was at the point where I need to buy another Giorgio case. I'll show you that. These are the Giorgio cases. They hold 24. This one is full. All mine are full. There's one missing, but it belongs there. So this one has some interesting ones. You remember this pen, you guys? Remember that one? I got it back. So here's some vintage pens over here. Vacuumatic, Conway Stewart, and Oxford. By the way, there's some Swans, I believe, up on Peyton Street right now with flex nibs for like $2.50 that look really nice. Go check out what Terry has. Awesome stuff. Here's a Duofold, some Estabrooks, and some new ones. Here's my Parker 51. So some good stuff here. But anyway, I have these, and then I have some other individual cases. I have some pens elsewhere in boxes and things, and usually a few on my desk, like I just shared with you. Another one on my desk, my Scrivener that says Hemingway Jones on it is also on my desk. So I've been using that as well. But I have another Giorgio case in my bag at Atlas. My, what do you call it? Your cart. And I'm ready to pull the trigger on it. But I've been hesitating. Because I know I'll fill it up. I probably have enough pens lying around here anyway to fill it up. But you get to the point where maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should start weeding my garden and replacing some pens for ones that inspire me more. Ones that I don't think I'll film with again. So maybe try to acquire some different pens. Like there are some certain pens I haven't touched, like Caran d'Ache or Yard of Lead. Is that what it's called? I think so. Haven't tried them. So there's a lot of stuff that I'd like to just try. And maybe they will open a different door on the channel and lead me somewhere. Thanks for all the likes, guys. I appreciate them. I see them flying by. I really appreciate it. So in my collecting journey, I just feel like I'm a bit at a crossroads. I've never wanted to have numbers. It was never my intention to have a lot of pens. It's more my intention to have pens that inspire my curiosity and my creativity. So now if we take those pens and we start to whittle them down, how small a collection could it be, or could I even start over? Now there is a cheat to all this, and that is that I used a Mont Blanc 149, the one you guys have seen on my channel very, very, very many times, that my wife bought for me, that I love. I've had it for over a decade now. It's a lovely pen. It writes fantastic. It's pretty. It's classic. I used that pen almost exclusively for a few years. So I kind of have a cheat in that respect, that I know I could technically use one pen. But would it be that Mont Blanc or something else? What would be the pen that could rule them all? That would be maybe my final pen before I rebuild on top of it in this thought exercise, because I intend to pare down my collection, but not to one. I'd like to maybe pare it down to like 60 and then allow it to go back up and then pare it down, something like that. Because the channel would be boring if I was showing you the same pens all the time. You need a little bit of variety. So I'm okay with that. But I do want to kind of refresh it a bit. I love that Wolf Kate Witch has 40 TWSBI Ecos. I love that about you, Kate. I do. It's very impressive. So I am thinking that there are certain pens that could, depending on what your activity and what you do with your life, be your only pen. I think there are some pens that are that good. One of them is the Lamy Safari. I do feel that it's such a good pen for somebody who's very active, very academic, very much into travel, and wants a nice writing experience that maybe is easy to get ink for if you use your cartridges while you're traveling, and is a pen that you don't have to worry about, and if it gets stolen or damaged, although has anyone ever broken a Lamy Safari? It's like trying to break a piece of Lego. Not easy. I'm sure it's possible, but it's not easy. So I feel like the Lamy Safari is a good choice for this. And maybe I'll make a top 5 list of final pens. Maybe we'll do that one day. But I feel like, especially with my video coming out this Friday on the Lamy Safari, that that would be a good one. And then I think there's some other ones too, like and someone said this in a comment before the show, which I really loved, the Pilot Custom 823. I feel like that is such a fantastic writer, such a great balanced pen in all the ways that you want a pen to behave, to perform, to inspire, to hold a lot of ink, to be great for travel because you can seal it up, to just have a beautiful, reliable nib. I've never had a false start on that pen. I've never had an issue with that pen. I have seen people with issues. I've seen people, but you never know what people do. You just don't know what leads to those issues. You see it out of context. Not that it's their fault. Sometimes it's the pen company's fault, like a Visconti Homo Sapiens. I love that pen. I don't know if that could be your only pen. I don't know if I would trust it because even though mine's perfect, it doesn't have the best track record on those nibs, does it? I do love it though. I see Thomas Quinn is talking about his Mont Blanc 146 and that the 149 is a little big. It's funny, Tom. If I can call you Tom, maybe you do go by Thomas all the time, but I'll call you Tom if you don't mind. The 146 has such perfect proportions. That would be a great pen for your only pen, but it's pricey. You'd be upset if you lost it. Now, the Sailor 1911L has the identical proportions, and I use that pen at work, so now I have a lot of time with it. It's that 21 karat nib, very interesting pen, fun to write with, very smooth, has a little bit of feedback, which I really like. Sometimes it feels like writing with a pencil, yet it still feels smooth, which is a little confounding and kind of one of the things I find really magical about it. But on the negative part, if you post it, and I do sometimes post it, it's hard to get the cap off. It likes to lock on there. I see that as a detraction, as a strike against it. But it is a fantastically balanced pen that's a lot of fun. Steve Ruckel has a suggestion. The Kaweco Brass Sport, it's amazingly tough, and it's strangely comfortable. It is. It's the proportion, right? Don't you think? I feel the brass and the bronze are very similar in that respect. The proportion makes them very balanced and easy to write with, and they're extremely tough. You could throw it from a great distance and pick it up, it'll be fine. It's the ultimate adventurer's pen. I feel like if Ernest Hemingway were with us, that's what he would use. He would probably have his, what do you call it, like a bandolier, his ammo and his vest and all that, and he'd probably put it in a discreet spot. You'd hate to reach for a round if a rhino's coming at you and you get your brass sport. That could be problematic, but I feel like he would have it handy. And I feel like that's a decent choice. Now for me, I probably would lapse back into my Mont Blanc 149 because I have in the past. But I could be happy with a lot of pens that I feel are more like daily pens. Like the Bohème, it's too fiddly. I wouldn't put it in this group as much as I like it. It's like a hobby kit. You take it apart, you put it back together, take it apart, put it back together. It's a bit tedious after a while, so maybe not that one. But an Eco, TWSBI Eco is all the pen you really need. I love that thing. I have a TWSBI VAC 700R with a smooth cursive nib that's brilliant. I love that thing. I could be happy with just that. Sometimes I like things with more history and more narrative. So that part of me would probably need something like the Mont Blanc or a Schaefer. I have a Schaefer Legacy with the inlaid nib, a triangular nib. It's so smooth. It's so beautiful. It has this really kind of aggressive mid-century sleekness to it. You could defend yourself with that pen. I feel like that would be a good choice. Definitely. Kaylee is suggesting a Pelican. Now, I think a Pelican is a great choice. I am kind of weighing the M800 against the M1000 now. I love both of those pens, but I think for a daily, I would go M800. It fits my hand the best. And the M1000, as much as I love it, I don't mind the girth of it. It's a little hard to control. It's a bit like having a Ferrari in a school zone. You got to keep it under 25, and it's just not that easy. And I think my hand, with all its limitations, is the school zone, is the grid. And that nib wants to sing, it wants to fly, it wants to just slide away from me. And I'm trying to rein it in with my little numb hand. Well, my big numb hand. My oversized mitt that's numb. And my handwriting is kind of terrible with that M1000, as much as I like it. But then the M800 gives me that control. And it's such a good size. So I think Pelican is a really, really good choice. Really good choice. Although I see a lot of love for the 823. I like that. I love the 823. Oh, Marco had to send his Mont Blanc Bohème for maintenance. I could see that. It's very fiddly. I'm very careful with mine. Very, very careful. Robert Koch wants a vintage Watcherman silver overlaid filigree. That sounds beautiful. Watcherman is going to make a huge appearance on this channel very soon. The thing about vintage pens for me, I love a lot of them. I love the way they write. But I worry about them. They tend to be a little bit more delicate than some of the more modern pens that are more reliable. You know, Aurora O Sole Mio is a fantastic daily pen. The Omas Bologna, a very smooth, expressive pen. Another really, really good one. So I think at the end of the day, it's a really good mental exercise to see, could you take your collection down to one? And then from there, what would you choose next? Because that's kind of where you start to make links. Maybe if you chose the Mont Blanc 149, you have this really posh pen that you might have to worry about. So what's your next pen? Maybe that makes you choose a TWSBI Eco or a Lamy Safari, and then you're like, well, I'll take that when I'm going someplace that I have to worry about it. So it just makes it kind of interesting to do these things. Duke asks a good question. Does the filling mechanism weigh in on your choice of a single? I think it would. I think it would have to be, since it's your only pen, something that really inspires you. So for me, it would be piston fill because it's my favorite, but I still say, and I still believe, the best filling mechanism for any pen is cartridge converter, because you don't have to worry about it. And if something happens, it's so easy to just swap it out for something else, another cartridge converter. Your converter breaks, just slap a cartridge in there. You'd be fine. That's peace of mind. A 149, they can get slow and clunky in the end. You have to send it off to get new seals lubricated after a while, maybe 15 years, although I've seen ones that never were serviced that are really old that are fine. But it can happen. So maybe that you don't want that for your only pen. I think that's definitely a consideration. Ooh, BJ, gunning for your Rishi. That's a great choice. Fantastic choice. I love that choice. So very good stuff. Ooh, love for the vac fillers. Good stuff. So that's what's on my mind in regard to that. But I do want to mention once again that the DC Fountain Pen Show is coming up, and I would love to meet as many of you there as I can. So if you're in that area, come out and say hello, because I'd certainly love to meet you. That, I believe, is the first weekend of August. I'm leaving a little early. We're going to stop a few places on the way. I'm going to drive my Jeep, a Jeep road trip. I have my new Jeep Grand Cherokee Hybrid with my sunroof, and little things make me happy. I like Jeeps, and I'm very happy with it. And I'm excited to get a little mileage on it, because I've had it now for since last November, and I've barely driven anywhere. I think I have like 4,200 miles on it or something, which is crazy. So this trip will up that a bit, but it's going to be super fun. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And this week, Friday, why you need to buy a Lamy Safari right now. The history, the heritage of the Lamy Safari. Courtesy of Yost Appleboom, who sent the pens over. Lovely fellow. So very nice. I think you'll like that video. I'm very proud of it. And I hope you like it as well. Well, I don't know if you can hear, but my voice is just about shot. So this last 15 minutes has been a bit of a struggle for me. And I'm going to sign off now just because I feel like in another 5 minutes I'm not going to be able to say anything. But I want to say the important stuff, and that is thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all your lovely comments, for all your likes, the super chats, all your lovely support in the channel, in the comments. You guys are so positive, so encouraging. It really helps to keep me going. I love making these videos for you. I love sharing them with you. I'm always a little excited to see how they'll be received. And you guys never disappoint me, and I really appreciate you all. So I want you all to know that. And I'm going to see many of you very soon. I'm really excited for that. I hope quite a few of you will show up in DC. And, you know, you can see me, you can see Helen, you can see Imogen. They're, you know, lovely people. And I think you'll find that I'm exactly what you expect me to be. I'm just like this. I'm the same guy wherever I go. So, thank you all. And much love to you all. I do appreciate it. And I can promise you, we will see each other again very soon. Friday, in fact. Further up the road. So please take care of yourself. And we'll see you next week on the live show. Thank you.